Yo, what's poppin'? It's Tommathan. We have week 3 predictions for the Countdown Cup qualifiers. This is the last day of Eastern matches, so this is going to be very exciting. We're going to know who's in the playoffs, we're going to know who's in the play-ins, and we can know that as soon as the first day between the Valiant and the Charge. I'll talk about that in a moment. Before I get into any of this, I want to direct your attention to the double points between the Spark and the Hunters. That's wrong. It's actually the Spark and the Charge, so just keep that in mind. The website's just incorrect. So, getting into the Seoul Dynasty against the Hangzhou Spark, I think it's just a 3-0. Spark need to figure out what's going on. They need to fix whatever's going on there because they are in serious danger of just losing the play-ins because they look really bad. Bring in Super Rich, I'm begging. It's really great that you brought in Bernard. You're leaning towards that a lot. I think it's a great decision. Bernard's very good. You don't need to play Goochboy all the time, sure, but it's not going to be enough to beat the absolute titan that is the Seoul Dynasty right now in this region. No one's even like coming close, and it's just going to be domination, I think. And then we get to the important match of the week, the Valiant and the Charge. So how this works: if the Charge win this match, they're in. If the Valiant win this match, and then they just need to go this they just need to win if Charge wins. So if Charge beat the Spark and Valiant have won this match, then Valiant need to beat Shanghai. If Charge lose to the Spark, then the Valiant can lose to Shanghai. That's just how that goes. So it's a bit of a two-step process for the Valiant, but Charge have a one-step process. I think the one-step process is going to come through. I like the Charge a lot. Choice A1, I think, is my GOAT. I think that I'm starting to believe that Easy Hum probably edges out Jimmy a little bit unless Jimmy is on. We need Jimmy to be on for this match. So it could go either way. It's also really going to depend on map type because if you get maps where you need to play the Zarya Reaper, Charge have not shown to be proficient in that yet. They could come through with it, but it just doesn't look like it's going to work for them right now. So I don't know. I think the map type's going to matter a lot. I think it matters how much Jimmy shows up because other than that, it's going to be an absolute star-studded performance between Becky and Choice A1, and I'm here for it 100%. This is the match to watch this entire weekend. But then going into Saturday, we have the Spark against the Charge. I think the Charge should just win this one as well, probably a 3-1. I'll give Spark a map. Again, it depends on the map types a lot, but like the Charge have looked on fire. Depends on how good Jimmy shows up. Depends on if Spark can fix whatever's going on. I don't think they can. If they can, if they look decent against the Seoul Dynasty, maybe there's a chance they beat the Charge. But like, I think they're in pretty dire straits, and this could be a preview of what we're going to see 2 weeks from now in the play-ins, where the Spark just lose. But anyway, then we have the Dragons against the Valiant. I think the Valiant are probably going to take this one 3-2. Dragons seem to be getting close. If they bring in Who Are You, if they decide, you know what, we're playing Genji pretty decently anyway, just bring in Who Are You, at least have 2 damage players that know what they're doing. Because Fleta on the Tracer is doing literally oxygen. He is doing nothing. He is just living, doing peanut damage, and that's it. And that's just not good enough. Bring in Who Are You, Shanghai, I beg. It'll be the right decision. I believe. And stop playing Bebe. They played Bebe a little bit last week, if I remember. They didn't play him as much, but like stop playing him as well. But Who Are You? Who Are You time? If Who Are You's in, then I'll give this to the Dragons, 100%. If I see Who Are You in for most of these matches, most of these maps rather, I'm giving it to the Dragons. But for now, it's going to go to the Valiant. And then we have the Hunters against the Fusion. I like what the Fusion are doing a bit more now. They didn't really pull through with the Reaper comp against the Zarya comp. That makes sense. Chengdu don't seem as perfect. I was leaning Chengdu before I was making this video, but right now something about this wants me to pick Fusion. Regardless, I think it should be a close match, but I think Fusion will have a nice bounce back. They always seem to turn up before, like in their last week. That's been a pretty common trend. So I like the Fusion here. And Chengdu tend to lose out in the last week. Philly tend to win up in the last week. So when you put it like that, it just seems like the obvious choice, right? And then we have the Dragons against Chengdu. I'm going to go with Chengdu, probably a 3-1. I'll give the Dragons a lip win. But again, if Who Are You's there, I might even still go back to Shanghai. I think Who Are You is that good that he could shift into the Dragons' favor. Because right now they're legit playing 4v5 with Fleta doing oxygen. So, but Chengdu, again, not very good record in the final week of the qualifier. So we'll see. And then we have this match is on LAN in Seoul, the Philly Fusion against the Seoul Dynasty. It should just be a Seoul win. It is on LAN, so maybe you get an MN3 buff Philly has been known to beat Seoul in the last game of the qualifiers before, so you never know. On land's a completely different experience. No team in APAC has played on land, I believe, this entire season. This is the first one and the last one, besides over in NA for the playoffs. So this is going to be very interesting to watch. I'm going to go with Seoul. I'll just give him a 3-0, to be honest. Fusion could turn up for the land environment, but it's in Seoul, so Seoul should have the edge. Even though there's probably a good amount of Philly fans there, I think Seoul's going to have the edge. I like a 3-0 for the Seoul Dynasty right there. That's what I'm going to lock for APAC. But let me know, especially your Valiant Charge match. I want to know your thoughts on this because this is a very extremely close matchup and it matters a lot. So I'm very excited to see what you guys have, what your guys' thoughts are on that match. And then we'll go over to the week 3 for the West. So first we have the Paris Eternal Execution Outlaws. Paris aren't a real team. They did show they're looking better. But I don't think they even take a map off Houston. Houston should just be better, especially if they give up on Doge like they did in their second match, because they haven't played last week, right? So if they continue where they left off 2 weeks ago, keep playing Dante on the Diva, you'll be fine. Maybe we'll see some Dante Zarya too. That'd be interesting. We'll see if he plays with Doomfist again. They've been cooking something up for a week. Who knows? A lot can change in a week of scrims. And then we have the Washington Justice and the Boston Uprising. I kind of like Boston just 3-0ing here. Like, Washington struggled a lot against Atlanta. They didn't know what was going on. I could see similar results against Boston. I think Boston's in a really good position after their first week. Another team that didn't play in week 2. So, you know what? I like the Boston Uprising here. Punk especially impressed me on their Diva. I think Washington is still too over-aggressive a lot of the time. And we'll see how Boston handles that aggression. It could work out in Washington's favor, but it just depends on if they show up and how Boston react to the aggression. It's just all this is. I think they're going to handle it quite well. They seem to be pretty adaptable, pretty flexible. So I like Boston for this. And then we have Florida Mayhem against Vancouver Titans. I actually think this one could be kind of close. I could see a 3-2 for the Titans, maybe. Or 3-2 for the Florida Mayhem. I think Florida's better than Vancouver. But I think this could be a close match. I like 3-2. Vancouver do get that win over Toronto, who don't look very impressive, but still, it's a win over Toronto that they weren't supposed to get. So they're looking good there. Florida also didn't play last week, right? Am I mistaken? Or did Florida not play last week either? No, they didn't. So Florida coming off of their week 1 performance, where they just kind of lost to the Gladiators and then lost to the Boston Uprising. So they didn't show a lot there. Wasn't a lot to be impactful. It wasn't a lot to be happy about. I remember someone was playing Zarya a lot. So, honestly, I could go Vancouver on this. I'm not a huge fan of the someone Zarya. And maybe False will be a bit more integrated because he did play last week. I'll bite and go Vancouver on this one, actually. Again, standard thing with me, underestimating Florida, but whatever. I'll continue, and I'll continue to underestimate them by having them lose against Atlanta. Going from last game of the night to first game of the next day is kind of annoying, but I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because there's a lot of time in between anyway. But I'll give Florida a map here. But Atlanta, I think they need to figure out what they want to do with Speedly better. I like what they're doing with the Echo, but I'd like to see them adapt a bit more off of it and recognize when it's not working. Because that was what bit them against Shock in that final match, especially in that final map rather on Oasis. But Speedly just played the Echo, but it wasn't working anymore. They just kept on it. So I think they need to be a bit more flexible in that regard. And I still think Speedly has some room to break out. Right now, I'm leaning towards it's going to be next season and not this season at all. But I think that he has more to give for sure. And if he finds that second gear that he can step into, it'll be really good for Atlanta. But I'm just waiting for Speedly to step it up, really. It's not like he's playing poorly. He's playing fine, but like we know he has so much more he can give. And I just want to see that potential. Now I have the LA Gladiators into Washington Justice. Wait. No, we don't. Didn't that already happened? Did it not? Oh no, that was against New York, right? They're like so similar teams. What if it's kind of similar to New York? Because Washington's all aggression. New York was all aggression. If Glad's try to match that aggression, they could be in trouble. Could I see a Washington win right here? It's literally the same. Like they're like the same team as New York, but better, right? Does that not make sense? I was gonna just lock in the 3-1 or 3-2 or whatever. I like a Washington Justice win, actually. That's where I'm at in my life right now. If Gladiators don't actually learn from their off match against the New York Excelsior, and they try to match aggression with aggression again, a team like Washington can win. Assassin maybe isn't as good as Yaki at his peak, but Assassin's no slouch. Decay is better than Flora, I would say. And then every other part of Washington is an upgrade. I like it. I'm going to lock it 3-2 for Washington. Let's go. Sure. Lose to Boston and then beat Gladiators. That's so Washington right there. This looks like the script. I don't know. And now we have Dallas against Houston. This is also on LAN in Arlington, which is basically Dallas. So Dallas have the home advantage. I also think they're the better team. I'll give Houston 2 just for LAN. I'm not gonna. Poor Philly. I'm not giving Philly any maps, but I'll give Houston maps. Yeah. So that looks good. Because Houston are really dangerous still. It's kind of the same thing. It depends on how Dante looks. But if they're going to lean more into the Diva, into the Hanbin Zarya, you're probably not going to have a good time. I might like even make this a 3-1. I'll give them a map at LAN. I might not give them any maps at LAN. Actually, they're just like Philly. I think Dallas have a better matchup into them if they continue to play how they did. And at LAN, Dallas have more fans there. Dallas already won on LAN before, just recently. Should be a Dallas win. Now Vancouver against Paris. This would be a toilet blow at one point, but now I just don't even think there's a shot. I'll give Paris a map. I can give them 2. I'll just give them the 1. They took 1 off London, but this looks fine. Paris still not really a real team, but Vancouver more than capable of giving them a map or 2. So, token match. Very interesting token match. Make sure you get this one right, team. And now we have the Dallas Fuel against the Atlanta Reign. Dallas should just win. It'll be interesting to see how they react to the Speedily Echo. I think it could be okay depending... Because they don't really enjoy the Sojourn as much anymore. They played a bit, but not as much as they did. So I think Speedily could have a good time here. If Atlanta win this match, it should do wonders for them. But I'll just go with a 3-1 for now. I think Speedily could cause some trouble on the Echo. That'd be a very interesting matchup to see. We might say Hanbin on the Diva to try and negate that. We'll see if Edison steps up and just kills him on the Sojourn. That's also a possibility. But this match might actually be closer than people think. I'd like to have a pretty legitimate shot at an upset here, I think. Then we have Boston Uprising against the LA Gladiators. I actually want to pred Boston here really badly and have Gladiators lose their final 2 matches rather. I think I will. I'm a big Boston believer. Gladiators still looked a little sloppy last week against New York. If they come off of a loss against Washington, their mental could be boomed. Reiner, very much known as a boomed mental kind of guy sometimes. And I wouldn't be surprised if this result does happen, for this one to happen as well. And I'm just very high on Boston right now, I think. They haven't shown that they can go super high in the standings or in the power rankings even, but I think it could be there. So anyway, I'm going to plug this into the standing simulator first and take a look at what it would look like then. So give me a moment. Okay, so this is what the standings would look like if my predictions are true. So I do have Valiant. Wait, what? No, that's wrong. Okay, I was about to say I do have Valiant there. No, I have the Charge there because I have the Charge winning. And then this is what it ends up looking like. I do have Reign staying here. Gladiators dropping a bit. I guess NA isn't as relevant. I just wanted to showcase, Charge Valiant. That's basically it. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what the matches you think are going to be important. For NA specifically, I want to know your thoughts on the Gladiators. Am I crazy for going for the Justice and the Boston Uprising? Maybe, but who cares? I think there's some legitimate chances there. But anyway, like this video if you like it, subscribe for more daily weekly content, and thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good one. Deuces.